Good morning. We are heading into a, for many, intense gift-giving season. If you haven't already had talks with your loved ones about exchanging other things than physical gifts, and I thought we could make a big batch of homemade mustard. I think this is a nice gift. Well, of course, if people like mustard, I do, a lot of my friends do, and mustard typically it's very sharp when you make it at first, and then it mellows out a bit over storage. So this here time of November, or about a month before when you're intending to give the gift, is a really good time to be giving or making said gifts. I can words. We're just going to do a very simple soak today. We're going to take our mustard seeds, about 2 parts yellow, 1 part brown mustard seeds, and then we're going to put them in the jar and cover with water and apple cider vinegar about 50-50. If I had access to an apple garden and, had a lot of apple trees growing, I would probably be making my apple scrap vinegar instead, which is fermented. And in that case, I would spend 2 months making mustard, because I would have 1 month of the mustard seeds soaking in that fermented apple vinegar and giving the mustard a little bit of that fermented tang, and then about 1 month of storage before giving it to that special someone. Hello, we are back again, and our friend has more than doubled in size. And honestly, this started as a shenanigan in the live streams where we were talking about etymologically the difference between mustard, or languages that use mustard as the base of mustard, and Germanic languages that use senf, where you have mustard coming from regions from Latin, where they made mustard with grape must, versus Germanic languages like Norwegian, where we call it sennep, and senf in German, that is made with mustard seeds and vinegar rather than grape must. And we shall be following those Norwegian Germanic traditions, because vinegar is what we will be using. And sennep and senf just stem from, I think was it sinensis alba, the Latin word for mustard. But yeah, now we just gotta grind these babies up with a lot of, I'm going to use ginger, horseradish is also popular, and some sugar. I'm going to use brown sugar and white sugar instead of honey, because then it's vegan, so it's easier for everyone to enjoy it. And maybe a little bit of salt, maybe some curry paste if I find it. But this is a very easy holiday gift to make, because you just grind it, pour it in a tin. Happy days. I can just pull out the big guns. We saved up for this kitchen machine for a long time and signed up to all the newsletters so that we could get a good offer on it, and we use it so much. It's so useful. But you could also use, a mortar and pestle if you're classic, but also one of those immersion blenders also works. But I'm going to be using my kitchen master tool and a milkshake blender, I believe is what they call it. Well, just a blender probably, because she is big. Oh, and we're also, because mustard is similar to mayonnaise in that sense, going to use obscene amounts of oil, but it's fine because this is a condiment, not a main dish. I'm not going to be using all these mustard seeds. We're going to reserve some for adding last to give texture. I think that is sufficient. And I'm just going to get her started as we prepare all the other stuff as well. This is going to be too small because of all the oil, but it's a place to start. Hi. Would you like to speak? Yeah? Hi? the kitchen where all the foods are. I think that is as blended as we are gonna get it. So now we're gonna split this batch in two because it's too big when we add oil as well, and add all our exciting flavors. Hi. I don't know, no mustard for you. It's too strong. Oh, it smells really strong. One thing I learned last year is if you have a habit of tasting your food a lot, don't taste quite as often when it comes to mustard, because when it's fresh, it is quite strong. And you might end up with quite the tummy ache. And that is not really what we are trying to achieve. I think that's about half. I'm just gonna slice my ginger into slices because the blender will take care of the rest. Just gonna go half and half. We're gonna mix them in the end anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And I like to add a little bit of salt. Not strictly necessary, but if it looks like my amounts are really big, you know, again, condiment, it is going to make a lot of portions. Brown sugar. Maybe we'll skip the white sugar this year and do just brown sugar for the molasses. And if it looks like I am being, as you can tell, terribly scientific about this, it is how it is. And this is not quite a curry paste because spouse can't have onion or garlic. So this is just ground up turmeric, galangal, and ginger with some oil. I thought that would add some nice color to our project. That nice turmeric glow. And if you don't have my random select jar of experimental condiments, of course, you don't have to use it. You can just skip it. And ginger, again, is usually substituted like horseradish. That's a lot more common than ginger, but I wanted to try this time, so ginger it is. And then a generous heaping of oil. It's kinda until it has the texture that you like. And then let's see if we can convince the blender to blend it all. And then we do a little taste. A bit more sugar, I think. But again, do this to your own preferences. We're going to transfer this to another bowl and then we can blend the second batch. It did get quite a nice color. Happy with that. And then I'm just going to fold in all our reserved mustard seeds. You don't have to reserve them either, you can just make a fully ground up mustard. If that is your preference, I just thought this would be a little bit fun. Let's see where she's at. I like that. That is not too mild, not too spicy. I think that'll be a nice gift. Again, mustard is nice to make now, end of November, beginning of December, because it'll mellow out a bit as it sits and be a little less sharp as you give it away. But yeah, you can make quite a big batch from some mustard seeds and oil. There we go. I'm gonna guess that these are 8 jars. I think these are about 2.5 deciliters, which will be about an American cup. So I think this is at least 2 liters of mustard that we have made today. Of course, you don't have to use jars. This is a pretty big jar for mustard. You could probably go away with half that for a jar, depending on how much of a mustard lover your intended recipients are. But yeah, I think this is a pretty easy gift to make if you like mustard. It was one of the things that I found that I could actually do, because I have so many friends who make so many things from scratch that a lot of the like classical made gifts like cake mixes and granola and vanilla sugar and things like that were already like, it felt like they were taken and someone else was already doing them. So I wanted to do something that could supplement with what everyone else was making. So yeah, I hope you give this a try. This is a pretty fun way to make your own condiments, and you can spice them however you like. And yeah, not our usual content, but I did promise in a live stream at one point that I would share my mustard making process. So there you go. I hope that was fun. But yeah, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and thank you to our lovely Patreons who put up with all my strange and awkward and funny shenanigans and help this channel be what it is, including our darling Voids, who add much appreciated whimsy and fun. Thank you for joining this. I hope you make some fun gifts this year, and see you next time. Bye!